That night in Detroit, 1978, security rushed the stage while Ace Frehley was playing. He just shook his head and put down his guitar. The next 30 seconds became one of the quietest moments in rock history. The Cobo Hall, Detroit, Michigan. November 14, 1978. Kiss was halfway through their Alive 2 tour. 15,000 people packed into the arena. The lights. The smoke. The spectacle that had made them the biggest rock band in America. Ace Frehley stood stage right in his spaceman makeup and silver-studded costume, his Les Paul Custom slung across his chest. He was doing what he always did, letting the guitar speak while the others handled the show. Gene breathed fire. Paul worked the crowd. Peter pounded the drums. And Ace just played. He didn't need to do more than that. The setlist that night was standard. Detroit Rock City. Deuce. Shouted out loud. The crowd knew every word, every riff, every moment. This was the machine Kiss had built, a perfectly calibrated spectacle that delivered the same electricity night after night. But something was different tonight. During the guitar solo in Shock Me, Ace's signature song, the one where he took center stage and the spotlight was his alone, he noticed something in the front row. A young man, maybe 19 or 20, had climbed over the barrier. Security hadn't grabbed him yet. He was just standing there at the edge of the stage, not rushing forward, not causing trouble. Just standing. Staring at Ace with an expression that wasn't excitement or fan worship. It was desperation. Ace kept playing. The solo built toward its climax. The kid didn't move. Then security saw him. 3 guards converged from different directions, moving fast. The kid saw them coming but didn't run. He just stood there, one hand reaching toward the stage, toward Ace, holding something Ace couldn't quite see in the stage lights. Ace's fingers slowed on the fretboard. The solo faltered for just a second, a micro moment most people in the arena probably didn't even notice. But he noticed. And the kid noticed. The security guards reached him. Hands grabbed his arms. The crowd around him surged, some trying to help, some trying to get out of the way. In the chaos, whatever the kid had been holding fell to the floor. Ace stopped playing. Not a gradual fade. Not a planned ending. He just stopped. His hands lifted off the strings. The guitar went silent. The band kept going for maybe 2 more seconds before they realized. Paul turned, still singing into his mic, then stopped mid-word. Gene's bass line died. Peter's drums stuttered to a halt. 15,000 people went silent. Ace didn't defend himself. He never did. On stage, under the lights, with the show stopped and the crowd confused, Ace Frehley did something he almost never did during a performance. He spoke. Not into a microphone. Not to the crowd. Just to the security guards dragging the kid away. Wait. One word. Quiet. But in the sudden silence of Cobo Hall, it carried. The head of security, a man named Frank DeLuca who'd been working Detroit venues for 20 years and had seen every kind of chaos, looked up at the stage. Ace was walking toward the edge, guitar still in his hands, his spaceman makeup reflecting the stage lights. "Let him go," Ace said. Frank hesitated. "Ace, he jumped the barrier. Protocol says." "I said let him go." Not angry. Not threatening. Just certain. The tone of someone who'd made a decision and wasn't going to argue about it. Frank looked at the other guards. They were new, younger, trained to follow procedure. Frank had worked Kiss shows before. He knew Ace Frehley didn't make requests lightly. When Ace spoke, you listened. He nodded. The guards released the kid. The young man stumbled forward, catching himself against the barrier. He looked up at Ace with that same desperate expression, then bent down and picked up what he'd dropped. A piece of paper. A photograph. He held it up toward Ace. Ace crouched at the edge of the stage, still holding his guitar. The arena was so quiet you could hear the hum of the amplifiers. "What's your name?" Ace asked. "Michael." The kid's voice cracked. Michael Henderson. What do you need, Michael? Michael held up the photograph higher. From where Ace was crouched, he could see it now, a picture of another young man, maybe the same age as Michael, wearing a Kiss t-shirt and holding a guitar. The photo was worn at the edges like it had been carried around for a long time. My brother, Michael said. David. He died. 6 months ago. Car accident. His voice broke completely. He was supposed to be here tonight. We had tickets together. This was going to be his first Kiss show. He learned guitar because of you. He wanted to play like you. The arena stayed silent. 15,000 people bearing witness to something that had nothing to do with pyrotechnics or spectacle. Ace looked at the photograph for a long moment. Then he stood up, unstrapped his Les Paul Custom, and walked to the tech station at the side of the stage. The guitar tech, a man named Jimmy who'd worked with Ace for 3 years, looked confused as Ace handed him the guitar and said something quiet that the microphones didn't catch. Jimmy's eyes went wide. He started to shake his head, but Ace just looked at him. That same quiet certainty. Jimmy nodded and disappeared backstage. Ace walked back to the edge of the stage. He crouched down again, this time extending his hand to Michael. Come up here. Subscribe and leave a comment. Because some moments only make sense when we remember them together. Michael climbed onto the stage with help from security, the same security that had been dragging him away 30 seconds ago. He stood under the lights in his jeans and Kiss t-shirt, shaking, clearly overwhelmed, holding his brother's photograph against his chest. Paul, Gene, and Peter stood back, letting this moment belong to Ace. They'd been in the band with him for years. They knew when not to interfere. Jimmy came back from backstage carrying a guitar case. He brought it to Ace, who took it and set it down on the stage floor. He opened the case and pulled out a black Les Paul, not a stage guitar, one of Ace's personal instruments, the one he used for recording, the one that never left the tour bus except for the most important sessions. He held it out to Michael. This was David's dream, Ace said quietly. To play guitar. To be here. So play. Michael stared at the guitar like Ace was offering him something impossible. I can't. I don't know how. David was the one who... Doesn't matter, Ace interrupted. You're here. He's here. He tapped the photograph Michael was holding. Play. Michael took the guitar with trembling hands. Ace helped him get the strap over his shoulder, adjusted the height, positioned his fingers on the fretboard. The entire arena watched in silence. Just one note, Ace said. Any note. For David. Michael's finger pressed down on a string. He strummed once. A single, slightly out-of-tune note rang out through Cobo Hall's PA system. It was imperfect. Uncertain. Nothing like the technical brilliance Ace Frehley was known for. It was perfect. The arena erupted. Not the manufactured excitement of a rock show. Something deeper. 15,000 people on their feet, crying, screaming, honoring a kid they'd never met, a brother who died too young, a dream that survived him. Ace put his hand on Michael's shoulder and guided him toward the front of the stage. Together they faced the crowd. Michael was crying openly now, holding the guitar, holding his brother's photograph. Ace raised Michael's arm, the one holding the photograph, up toward the lights. The image projected on the big screens behind them, David Henderson in his Kiss shirt, holding a guitar, smiling at a future he'd never reach. Away from the spotlight, Ace made a choice no one expected. After the show, backstage, Ace found Michael sitting alone in a corner of the dressing room area. The kid had been escorted there by security, friendly escorts this time, not forced removal. Someone had given him a Coke. He was still holding the guitar Ace had handed him on stage. You can't give me this, Michael said when he saw Ace approaching. I can't accept this. Ace sat down beside him, his makeup half removed, leaving ghostly traces of the spaceman across his face. He didn't say anything for a moment. Just sat there in the post-show silence, the muffled sounds of the crew breaking down equipment filtering through the walls. "I want to tell you something about that guitar," Ace said finally. "I bought it in 1973. First real money I made after Kiss started taking off. I could have bought anything. Could have gotten 10 guitars. But I bought that one because it felt right. You know what I mean?" Michael shook his head. "When you're playing, really playing, the guitar stops being separate from you. It becomes part of how you express what's inside." David understood that. "I can tell from his picture. The way he's holding his guitar. That's not posed. That's real. He practiced 8 hours a day," Michael whispered. "Our mom would yell at him to stop, to come eat dinner. He'd say just 5 more minutes and keep playing." Ace smiled slightly. "That's a musician. That's someone who had it in them. And now you're carrying his dream. Whether you play guitar or not, you're carrying it. So yeah, you're keeping that guitar. Because it's not mine anymore. It's David's. Through you." Michael's face crumpled. Ace let him cry, didn't try to comfort him with words, just sat there being present. After a while, Michael wiped his eyes. "Will you sign it? The guitar? And the photograph?" Ace signed both. On the guitar's body, "For David, keep playing, Ace Frehley, November 14th, 78. On the back of the photograph, "Some dreams don't die. They just change who carries them." What followed silenced everyone in the room. The story should have ended there. Touching moment. Rock star generosity. Kid goes home with an incredible memory and a guitar worth thousands. But that's not what happened. 3 days later, Kiss was in Chicago. Ace was in his hotel room when the phone rang. It was Frank DeLuca, the head of security from Detroit. "Ace, I thought you should know. That kid, Michael Henderson. He went home and signed up for guitar lessons. Brought the guitar you gave him to his first session yesterday. His teacher called me. I gave Michael my card in case he ever needed anything, and said the kid cried through the entire lesson but wouldn't stop playing." Ace didn't say anything. The teacher said he's never seen someone with zero experience show that much heart. Said if Michael keeps it up, he might actually become something. Thought you'd want to know. Thanks for calling, Frank. Ace? What you did that night. I've worked security for 20 years. Seen every kind of show, every kind of performer. I've never seen anyone stop a concert for something like that. Most guys would have let security handle it and kept playing. I wasn't thinking about the show, Ace said simply. I was thinking about the kid. Yeah. That's what made it matter. 6 months later, Kiss was back in Detroit for another show. Before they went on, Frank DeLuca came backstage. He had someone with him. Michael Henderson. Holding the same Les Paul. But this time, his hands weren't shaking. This time, he looked like someone who'd been practicing 8 hours a day. He wanted to show you something, Frank said. Ace nodded. Michael plugged the guitar into a practice amp someone had set up in the dressing room. He adjusted the volume, positioned his fingers, and he played the opening riff to Shock Me. The song Ace had been playing the night they met. Not perfect. Not polished. But recognizable. Real. When he finished, Michael looked up at Ace with tears in his eyes. David and I were going to learn this together. So I learned it for both of us. Ace stood up and embraced him. No words. Sometimes words diminish what matters. That night, before Kiss took the stage, Ace made a request to the production team. During Shock Me, they dimmed the lights and projected David Henderson's photograph on the screens behind the band. Michael stood side stage and watched his brother honored by 15,000 people who'd never met him. Ace played the solo. For David. For Michael. For every dream that survives the dreamer. Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. Michael Henderson never became a professional guitarist. He became a music teacher in Detroit. In his studio, hanging on the wall behind his desk, is the Les Paul Ace gave him and the photograph of his brother. Every student who walks through his door hears the story. And when they ask why he teaches, Michael says the same thing every time. Because someone showed me that dreams don't die. They just change who carries them. Ace Frehley never talked about that night in interviews. He didn't need to. The people who were there remembered. That's enough. Real power doesn't announce itself. It just shows up when it matters.